My name's Akber Dhanjee. I have a wife, Denji, and my son who is 18 years old, Denji. I spend a lot of time volunteering in the community through scouting, through the community mosque where we help a lot of seniors. So spending a lot of time in community service. I play a lot of sports. I play volleyball, racquetball, soccer, badminton, ping pong. I do yoga. It is an addiction, as I would call it, but it is a good addiction. On April 8th, 2012, I was basically sitting watching TV, deciding to go to mosque and do part of my voluntary work. At that point, I felt very tired and decided against going. So I sat on the couch, got my wife to get me a glass of orange juice. I got up after a couple hours and then decided to go to bed, after which I picked up a glass of an empty glass of orange juice. It actually fell and shattered. That was kind of odd. Things don't usually fall from my hands. And at that point, I basically gave up and said, it's okay. Just go up. We're very tired right now. I want to take it easy. So I went up to my bedroom with my wife and decided to go to sleep. At 2:17 a.m., my wife woke up with me having my first seizure. She called my son and told him to call 911 straight away.
When my mom did call me and told me to call 911 immediately, that something was happening to Dad, she wasn't sure. I walked into the room then and I saw what was going on and I was shocked. Immediately called 911 then. Basically what I saw was my dad shaking vigorously in the bed and uncontrollably, foaming from the mouth, eyes flipping back.
I was rushed to Richmond General Hospital at that point in time. I was brought in and they were working on me feverishly, realizing how serious my case was.
The first hour when a critically ill patient comes into the emergency department, we often refer to as the golden hour, since those interventions can often make the most difference. So when Akbar first arrived, he received medications to stop his seizures and to prevent further seizures from occurring. He then went over to the CAT scanner to have a CT scan done of his brain. After the physician who was treating Akbar saw the CT scan and discussed the results with the radiologist, it was determined that the patient was best treated in a hospital that had an acute neurology service, such as Vancouver General Hospital.
In VGH, I was put into an induced coma for 5 days. The conclusion that had come out was I had suffered a major stroke, followed by 4 seizures. Taking into account what had happened and what the ramifications would be, was the worst case scenario was that I was not going to be alive anymore. The second worst case scenario was that I would be paralyzed and have major concerns with my health for the rest of my life. My concerns were that I was not going to be the person that I was before. From the minute I woke up, I was told to lift my right hand up, which I did, my right leg up, my left hand I could not do, my left leg I could not do. After 2.5 weeks or so, I was transferred back to Richmond Hospital.
When Akbar returned from Vancouver General Hospital to Richmond Hospital, he wasn't a critically ill patient anymore, but he still had a long road ahead of him in terms of his neurological rehabilitation.
I found a lot of muscle mass that I did not have anymore. I found a lot of my physical limitations were there. And realizing then that there is actually a lot of things in our life that we just take for granted. They told me that it was going to take many months of recovery for me to get to where I was. But I basically told my body that no, you have to work, but you've got to work now. The staff at the Richmond Hospital worked on me by listening to my concerns, noticing my concerns when I didn't mention my concerns, and working on me a little bit at a time to get me to where I was. It was at the Richmond Hospital that I could see a future, that was a positive future, and that gave me the belief that I had to that I was going to make it.
For a patient such as Akbar, the continuum of care is really important. He starts out as a critically ill patient and receives a number of treatments both at our hospital and a tertiary care hospital. But his care doesn't end there, and neither does his road to recovery end there.
I was at Richmond Hospital for approximately 3 weeks, and just before I was discharged, the physiotherapist told me that there was a program out there that would help me get back into my community life, into my work life. So I went to this early discharge program.
The first day I met Akbar, he had a bit of a limp. He could only tolerate about 10 minutes of activity, and then he was exhausted. His balance was a bit off. We worked on his endurance and just his general activity tolerance using the treadmill and the bike, just being able to get him to be able to tolerate more activity. He probably did twice as much as I told him to do. You know, if I told him to do something 10 times, he'd do it 20.
Akbar's recovery has been quite amazing, and I think that a lot of patients would have expected quite a longer amount of recovery after such a significant illness. And the fact that he's recovered to the extent that he has in such a short time truly is quite amazing.
To all the professionals that worked with me and on me at the Richmond Hospital, I would like to say a very special thank you for working on me, treating me as part of your family. Giving is the only way that we all make it in life. There are people that want, and then there are people that give. But without the giving, there is no solution. It has given me life. It has given me my life back again. It is something I treasure. It is something that every donor treasures themselves. So to give, to help somebody else live, is something I will always say, please do so. Please do so.
If I could speak to the donors, I would say that it makes a difference to us. Sometimes it's in small ways that nobody would think would make a difference to a patient, but it does make a difference to a patient. And sometimes the donations go to fund larger projects that make a huge difference for us.
What I want to say to him is that just keep on going, push your heart out, and work as hard as you can to get to that maximum level. I just want him to get better. I mean, he is better, but better than better, the best.